I'm sorry, did I just hear no? Okay, let me turn that into a yes. Not doing it was just not an option. Our success versus failure, us giving up, is not an option. I didn't say a moment is only a second there, though.
Hi, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of Portraits of Strength. And I'm your host, Harry, the Anecdotist. Today on Portraits of Strength, I'm truly excited and honored to welcome Dr. Aparajita Jeedigunta, a remarkable leader, cultural strategist, and a changemaker whose life story and professional mission embody grit, inclusion, and transformation. Dr. AJ is a social psychologist, executive and leadership coach, and a multilingual educator. She's the founder of the Mayuri Group, an ecosystem of offerings that support IBR leaders, heritage learners, and cultural bridge builders in reclaiming language, leadership, and lifeways. She brings clarity, cultural rhythm, and unapologetic care into every space she builds. What makes Dr. AJ's journey particularly compelling is how adversity shaped her purpose. She is a two-time traumatic brain injury survivor who transformed her own recovery into a mission of mental well-being advocacy and empowerment. Her lived experience gives her a deeply empathetic lens through which she views the intersections of identity, vulnerability, and leadership. She also weaves into her work her passion for cultural wisdom and artistic expression, integrating ancient practices and cross-cultural sensibilities into how she coaches, speaks, and mentors. In our conversation today, we'll explore not only Dr. AJ's remarkable path of healing and leadership, but also how she navigates the tensions of visibility, belonging, and equity in systems that often marginalize invisible voices. Please welcome me in Dr. Aparajita Jeedigunta to Portraits of Strength. Welcome, AJ.
Hi, thank you. Thank you so much for having me. And I'm very, very excited for this conversation.
I'm looking forward to it. So, to get started, can you tell us a little bit about your childhood? Like, what kind of a kid you were?
Yeah. Actually, you might remember more about that than I do. So I was born in a at that time, small coastal town called Kakinada, which historically has been a major port, but it was always a small town. And you must excuse me, you might hear the pitter patter of my dogs. They are
totally okay.
I have no control over that. So Kakinada is in South India, and because of my parents' work and everything else, like just the opportunities that are afforded in bigger cities, I spent the majority of my childhood in Hyderabad, going back to Kakinada and other towns like, where my extended family was for holidays and things like that. But I grew up in Hyderabad primarily, and I went to Nasir School, which is, how you and I began our long journey.
Yeah.
I would say it was a much less complicated childhood than I feel like kids these days are having.
True. Very true.
We didn't have internet. We didn't have to worry about social media. And Nasser is an all-girls school, so there was very little to worry about sort of gender, expectations
Discrimination.
and gender differences. And this was also a
Yeah.
time where not really much was even known or allowed in terms of like the LGBTQI plus spaces in
That.
India. It, but, it simplified things.
Mm-hmm.
As often it flattened a lot of things, but in retrospect, but often
Yeah.
black and white perspectives are flattened but simpler. So,
Mm-hmm.
but that being said, it was a beautiful, beautiful childhood. I really, really thrived in school. Excelled in academics. Was the cultural captain of like my house. And sang. I was formally trained from the time I was two, almost just over 2 years old. Did some karate here and there. Did some tried out gymnastics. Played some basketball. Played
Yeah.
throw. Was a captain of the throw ball team. Was on the table tennis team. Was a
I remember that's where we used to actually hang out a
yeah,
lot, right?
yeah,
Like, you, me, and I believe Neelu, we were all like on the basketball team, on the
yeah,
throwball team. We were
yep.
playing table tennis together.
Yep, yep. And then I was also the co-captain of the Tennycoit team, so
Correct. Yes.
so
Yes.
it was just like I was, I pretty much had my fingers in everything because
Everything.
I the, we had that opportunity to, because we
Very
didn't
true.
again have internet. We didn't have TV was like whatever they showed us. It wasn't this
Yeah.
OTT on, like whenever I felt like it stuff.
Yeah.
So it was beautiful. It was beautiful. And then when I was 14, right after ninth grade, is when my parents and I moved here to the US. So from
Hmm.
10th grade through the 12th grade, and then undergrad, grad school, and PhD, all of those I did in different schools in the US here. Yeah.
Okay. Who would you say were your biggest influences early in life?
Um, I would say like one of my biggest influences back then, and to a certain extent to this day, what is my mom's younger sister.
Hmm.
She came to live with us when I was about 8 years old for her college and things like that. And
Okay.
she's exactly 10 years older than I am, and I'm an only,
Oh,
biologically I'm an only
you're
child. And so, oh my gosh, I looked up to her like everything. If she wanted to wear makeup, I wanted to wear makeup. If she wanted to
hmm.
wear high heels, I'm like, wear my pair of high heels, And we, even though
Yeah.
she was 10 years older, she did treat me like her little sister. It was a little
Yeah.
sister and a little daughter, but we pretty much did everything together. She would pick me up from school, and we would stop at some local, like, just some like whatever street food restaurant on the way and grab some like gobi manchurian, veggie fried rice, go out shopping, all of that. So in a positive sense, I think she was a huge influence. And then
Hmm.
she was also an influence in sort of the negatives, in the
Hmm.
sense of, because she was 10 years older, I kind of was able to see the struggles that
Hmm.
she went through within
Ah,
the family as well as within society at that time, without me having
gotcha.
to personally experience it. I still was
Experience.
like right there to witness it, so I think without me even realizing it, that formed a
Hmm.
lot of my values, and
Gotcha. Yeah.
it formed my morality, it formed my sense of compassion, and it really formed my boundaries,
Oh,
from
okay.
even
Yeah.
at that age,
Hmm.
because I would see her having to struggle with proving herself as a woman so much over and over and over
Over.
that,
Yeah.
and it just felt so unfair to me, because she's so
Yeah.
talented. And it
Yeah.
was also, and
Yeah.
this was also a case where she wasn't ready to get married, but she had to get an arranged marriage, and it had to happen because of the horoscopes and blah blah blah. It had to happen within a certain
Yeah.
time, and
Yeah.
and so yeah, all of those I think put together just kind of it just made me really really look at the world in a much more critical
Much.
way than
Mm.
probably a child would.
Would.
Yeah.
Oh, that makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah.
So you mentioned like, yeah, we were friends till like you were in till ninth grade, and I was a year younger, and then you moved countries like at a very critical stage, because teenage years are the years that those are the most formative years. Those are the times where you are developing, emotionally, mentally, intellectually. And moving to a completely different country with a different culture, how was that for you? I mean, like, how did you cope with that cultural change? What did that exposure actually help you? Like, how did you deal with it, and how did it help you grow into the person that you are today?
That's really a great question. So that was so long ago at this point, because I'm
Yeah.
much older. Without saying like I'm a dinosaur, I'm much older. Um,
We're not, come on.
you know, I mean, listen, my kids, people are calling me auntie these days, so it's unavoidable, and I have no
Yeah.
problem. I actually enjoy aging. Like, I've been really enjoying getting older.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm sure at that time it was quite a shock. I think for me, it helped. It was different than, like, especially from our community, from the
Mm-hmm.
Indian communities and the Telugu communities, especially. Most people come here for college or masters,
Yeah.
like
Correct.
that's the trend of immigration within
that
our,
that's that's my path, right?
yeah,
So I came to the US for my master's.
exactly.
So yeah,
But
yeah,
for
it's the
me,
norm.
Yeah, but for me, I was shielded by my parents because I moved here
Hmm.
with family. So it wasn't,
Right.
while the environment around me was completely different and completely
Hmm.
brand new,
Yeah.
um, my structures were exactly the same,
Ah, okay.
you
The
know,
at home, basically, everything was the
at
same.
home. And like, it was, I would leave school and come home to that structure, to those same values,
Yeah.
to the same food, all of
Hmm.
that. And so I think it was very, very protective.
Okay.
It was a very nice warm blanket.
Mm.
Um, um, and sometimes warm blankets smother. And there was a little bit of that,
Sure.
because towards the end of high school is when I noticed, like, all of my friends were starting to date. And of course, me bringing up that word at home caused a massive explosion in my parents. And just for
I can imagine.
bringing the topic up, I was grounded, I think, for like a month or so. And I'm like, wow, that's harsh. But and it was also the first time I've experienced grounding, because in India we don't ground people, at least at that
True.
time we
True.
didn't. So I'm like, what is this
Yeah.
grounding thing? Like, I don't enjoy this at all. Just punish me instead, and like, let's get it over with and move on. So it
Yeah.
was, so that it was very interesting, but we navigated it together. And again, I
Mm.
wasn't alone through it. um I lost my accent, like, the so-called Indian accent, within about 8 to 10 days of moving here. And I think
Oh wow.
I think the advantage was that, in Nasser, we were an English medium school, and they
That's true.
really, really emphasized
Mm-hmm.
um, English, like in terms of writing comprehension and reading, and of course speaking. So
Mm-hmm.
we all were so well trained in
Yeah.
language,
Yep.
because all of us also went through then the second language and then the third language,
Third language. Yep.
um, from a very, very early age. So adapting to languages and accents, I feel like Nasir kids, I don't know about now, but at least at that time,
Mm-hmm.
would have had an advantage no matter where in the world they went to. At least it was an advantage for me. And I was very, very afraid of sticking out as the new kid.
Mm. Yeah.
Um,
I think it's a
because
pretty common fear that teenagers, no matter what age, what country, or wherever you are, it's a common thing for teenagers, right?
right,
Like
exactly.
they want to blend in, they don't want to stick out. Yeah.
Exactly. And on top of that, like, so high school here starts at ninth, right? But
Mm,
I finished ninth in India. And so I was not only just coming to a new school, but I was coming into an environment where the cohorts and the cliques were already made,
right, right.
And so I was
Yeah.
like, I I don't need to, and in India, like, we were part of like the popular kids crowd.
Yep.
We were part of the smart kids crowd. We were part of the sports kids crowd. We were part of the popular, like, we were it. We ruled that school.
Everything. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I was like, I don't want to rule anything. I just I don't want to stick out. That's it. And so, especially because I still had my super long hair.
Yeah, I
Um
remember you had like long,
it was
twin braids.
Yeah, my hair was like down to my knees. And
Yeah.
it was also a case where my mom didn't let me, she felt I was too young for like grooming and things like that. So I wasn't getting my eyebrows done, and so I was just like,
Yeah.
okay, so how do I fit in?
Yeah.
Losing my accent was the
Was
easiest
the
way
easiest
for
thing.
me to not stand out.
Gotcha.
And
Yeah.
so I pretty much just would practice saying words over and over again, like, in the bathroom or like
Mm,
whatever. And I think our brains at that age, like, they're sponges too, right? So
right,
in
right.
hearing everyone speak, I was immersed in it. So boom,
It's
gone.
easier.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. You bring up an interesting thing. It's something that I've actually noticed with all the Nazar kids that I'm in touch with. We all share, I don't know if I want to call it snobbishness, but we all are very picky when people don't speak or write proper English. It it blows my mind. It pisses me off, and the thing that I've noticed is it's not just me. Everybody, it's you, my other friends who are all my classmates from Nazar. I think it's just a Nazar trait that I want to call it, you know?
Yeah. I think it's fair to call, like, I almost want to say we are partly snobbish.
We are, because I mean that privilege of going to that school gave us that. But it's also, yes, we are snobbish, and I have to come, like, sometimes when I see somebody's, messages that come in like not proper English or not proper, the usage of there,
Oh,
the different ones. They like, I have to rein myself in and not judge the other person.
Oh, it 100%, and it I couldn't rein myself in for a long time. It's something I
I can
really had to
relate. Yeah.
train myself to do, because all of, on the positive side, there's all of these advantages, right? We blend,
Yep.
we adapt better. Nasser kids just
Very much.
adapt better. Nasser
Yeah.
kids are sort of more well-rounded. And by this, I'm not speaking down on, like, the St. Dan's kids or like any of them. I just speaking to our experience.
Correct.
uh
Exactly. Yeah.
but that also kind of shows just how much we were conditioned into these colonial expectations of what proper
Mm,
is and things like that. And it was when I
yeah.
started, like, my decolonization and re-indigenization journey much later in life,
Mm,
that I'm like, that's when I realized, okay, it's the English language. Like, it's not even our language.
Yeah.
Why am I being so picky about it? So now I
Yeah.
pick on people up for Telugu. Simple.
The picking doesn't stop. We just
No.
change it, you know?
I just changed the language and now I'm like really, really, really particular about Telugu stuff.
Makes sense. Yeah. So you're pretty open about your TBI, and you always mention that it's not once. Actually, you suffered traumatic brain injury twice,
Yeah.
right? Um, can you tell us a little bit about how that happened and how did that affect you? And I guess more importantly, how did you pick yourself back up and, continue to do these amazing things that you're doing in your life?
Thank you for that. Off like, I think most days we forget to give ourselves a pat on the back. So it's always nice when somebody
Yeah.
else does it for us. Um, so the interesting thing about my TBIs, at least interesting for me, hopefully interesting for for your listeners too, is
Yeah.
when I got my first one was in college at U of M,
Mm.
and back then concussions weren't even classified as brain injuries.
Oh,
Medically, like
okay.
they weren't considered serious, which we
Mm.
now know
No,
concussions
yeah.
can be very serious, because you can have delayed effects that come in and they can
Mm.
change the course of your life. So after my first one, so I was pre-med. I was,
Mm.
yes, my parents wanted me to be a doctor, but to a decent extent, I did too.
Mm.
Um, like what they wanted me to very specifically go into cardiology or neurosurgery.
Mm. Yeah.
That was a part I wasn't sure on, like
Mm-hmm.
which specialization I wanted to go into. But I knew that was a field I did want to pursue. And so
Mm.
in high school and like going into college, all of the steps I'd taken in terms of like my AP courses, the camps I went to, they were all kind of geared towards that. And after my
Mm.
first TBI, I was, taken to the university health system, the hospital, and they just kind of checked me out. I was probably there for maybe 45 minutes or so. That's it. Um,
Mm.
I don't remember the exact details.
Sure.
Obvious because two brain injuries later,
Amnesia.
things blur.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
I wasn't there for a long time. What I do remember is they just said, "Yeah, you're gonna have a headache for a couple of days. Don't worry about it. On your way home, just stop at like a pharmacy, like a Rite Aid or whatever you can find on the way back to your dorm, and just pick up some Tylenol. Um,
Mm.
we'll write you a note for a couple of days to get excused from your
Miss
classes at that
miss
time."
classes.
Yeah, because I did have some labs and things like that at that time, from
Sure.
if I remember, right? But
Yeah.
and then they're like, "Yeah, easy peasy," and I was like,
Okay.
"Okay." And so I did just that, came back, and my headache did last longer. And I was like, "Okay." I mean, they said 2 days, nothing in science is ever exact, so whatever.
Yeah, it's okay. Mm.
And about like I want to say like sometime later, maybe probably like week, 2 weeks, but a little bit later, things that were making sense to me before
Mm.
all of a sudden weren't. I was having,
So, like when you were studying and
yeah,
things like that?
yeah, all of a sudden
Okay.
these organic chemistry models and like these biochemistry equations and things like that, which I
Hmm.
was really good at, I was
Right.
massively struggling with that.
Oh. Hmm.
I've always been like really good at math, and I was suddenly
Hmm.
massively struggling with that.
Hmm.
And I also noticed some personality changes. Like I started engaging in, I think you know this about me, like I was always quite adventurous, but I
Yeah.
wasn't impulsive
Mm-hmm.
in terms of risky,
Yeah. Yeah.
um actually point blank stupid decisions. And it was almost like I was like, let me see what the limits of this are, but not intentionally. I was just
Yeah.
making more and more and more reckless
Imp-
decisions.
oh, okay.
And when I went and I talked to the doctors about it, they didn't even connect it back to the TBI because again,
Your
it
con.
wasn't even considered a TBI.
Hmm.
They pretty much told me I had like a personality change and possibly a personality disorder,
Oh,
which was a huge blow. But
yeah.
incidentally, that's how I got into psychology because I'm like, WTF does this mean? What personality disorder? Like
Yeah.
what? So then I started looking into personality theories and all of that and found psychology to be super fascinating.
Mm-hmm.
And that's pretty much how that journey started there.
Mm-hmm.
But then fast forward 10 years, I'm in grad school. It was 2 days after I declared my doctoral candidacy.
Mm.
Um, it was the second day of the semester, and I got hit by a car, and
Oof.
it completely took me out. Like so cognitively and everything, I had checked out. They pretty much had to bring me back.
Oh,
And
wow. That was a much more
yeah, it was a
larger,
serious one, and it was
serious
in
one.
the course of that when
Hmm.
in the emergency room they do the imaging and everything because it was a
Yeah.
very obvious moderate to severe brain injury, and
Hmm.
it was in the course of that imaging that then the doctors came back and were like, did you know you had a previous brain injury?
So you did not know for 10 years that the previous concussion had actually had
That much of an
resulted in a
impact.
brain injury.
Yeah.
Oh my
Yeah,
God.
because there was still a significant, and there today to date there still is a significant amount of scar tissue in both my brain injury
Wow.
areas.
Ouch.
But so when they first told me, I was like, huh? Like, what? Like,
Yeah.
and I was like, like, and it was. And I'm able to joke about it now, but
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm like, what, getting dropped on my head or something? Like, like,
Yeah.
those kind of stereotypical. They're like, no, you have a pretty, like, it's not as bad as this one,
But it is
based
bad.
on based on
Significant
what we're
one.
seeing now. But and obviously in the imaging they're not able to tell the time, but they were pretty much giving me all of this information so that I could go back in time and be like
And
figure out like what happened.
where did it happen? Or yeah.
Yeah, and so then like piecing everything together like over the course of a, again, days, weeks, whatever, is how I was like, oh my gosh, so that was a brain injury,
Oh wow.
but the second one was very, very severe.
Mm.
It completely, once again, changed the trajectory of my life.
Yeah.
And I think I was on student insurance, so once
Mm.
they kind of stabilized my vitals and um decided that I don't need surgery because I had
Mm.
multiple clots. I had a subdural hematoma. 40%, like right here,
Oh.
was like pretty badly damaged. My orbital socket was like affected because of the nature of the fall.
Oh
Um
my God.
and like going into my temple area, all of this was like affected, so it was pretty severe. Thankfully my mom, like my mom did remote work as well as some FMLA, and helped me recover until I was just like, no, you need to just go home, I can't handle you right now, which she was not happy about, but I'm like, no, no,
Yeah.
you're adding more stress to my life right now, I can't take it. um but other than her, the insurance companies did not give me any OT, any PT, so no physical therapy, no occupational therapy, nothing. I checked in with a
Wow.
neurologist once a month at the
Hmm.
hospital, and that was it because I was on student insurance. Um, in so I had to figure everything out, my
Everything
recovery out
by
on my
yourself.
own. My department was like trying to say, maybe I should take a break or just quit the program, not get my PhD
Yeah.
because it was a
And this
pretty
was
severe thing that I went through.
and it was after you actually declared your or you declared your candidacy for
Yeah, I
PhD, right?
passed 2 days prior. Yeah, they'd
Oh
accepted my
my gosh.
application 2 days prior. But
Yeah.
it was, and I'm again, I'm not fully knocking them on
Yeah,
this.
yeah.
My injury was that severe.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That when an entire department of psychologists is like,
Mm-hmm.
of all sorts of specialties, is like, we are not sure if you
You
have the
can.
capacity to continue this
Mm,
right now. But
yeah.
I think you know me well enough that when someone says no to me, I'm like, watch me.
No, very watch me.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I really fought
No
for
wonder
it.
no, no wonder you and I became close
I
friends
know.
because yeah.
Yeah, I'm sorry, did I just hear no? Okay, let me turn that into a yes. Yeah,
Yep.
yeah, yeah. Let me leave you in the dust. Bye bye. So I fought for that, and I had to figure out how to. So I completely forgot all Telugu. I didn't
Mm.
know who my parents were. Didn't know any of my
It's a lot of
family
amne
members.
it's a lot of amnesia because of the
Yeah,
brain injury.
lot of memory loss. Lot of memory loss.
Okay.
I did retain some basics of psychology that I had studied up until that point, not all.
Okay.
So I pretty much
Yeah.
had to kind of retrain myself on being a good student again, on
Mm.
learning again. My learning
And you
styles
did
changed.
and you did all this you were living by yourself doing all that, correct?
Yeah,
In Hawaii.
yeah. While also
Man,
teaching 2 classes,
yeah.
going to my own classes, um, and
That is
taking care of myself.
that requires a massive amount of mental strength, not to talk, I mean, yeah, physical strength a little bit, but for sure that requires a lot of grit and mental strength. Where did you find that strength from?
I really don't know. I don't know. I wish I could say like it comes from this source or this, like, but
Yeah, yeah,
it really was one of those where not doing it was just not an option.
an option.
It just wasn't an option. I mean, even my parents wanted me to come back, and I'm like,
Mm-hmm.
no, not fulfilling this is simply not an option for me, and but it's also, it's, I think it's why I also like just really, really came to loathe the word resilience.
Hmm.
um
And I know I was going to ask you that question is like, I know in our conversation last week you said you don't like the word resilience, and I wanted to kind of like, okay, that's a question for the podcast. Like, why? Why?
so this is why, right? And especially like any listeners who are part of marginalized communities can hopefully relate to this. For a lot
Hmm.
of us, our success versus failure, us
Mm-hmm.
giving up is not an option.
Mm.
So when it is not an option, like
Mm.
when going through it is the
Mm.
only option we
Only
have
option.
for whatever
Hmm.
um for whatever reasons or purposes of our existence, then
Hmm.
how is it resilience? Resilience means like, sort of bouncing back from adversity.
Mm-hmm.
I kind of understand that, but like that also means like it's resilience or not being resilient. But in this case, like not being resilient is not an option because your entire existence depends on it. I didn't
I mean,
have a
there was
choice but
always
to recover. Like otherwise, what was I gonna do? Like, be like not relearn Telugu, just cut off all social contact and sit at home on the sofa and go, oh, woe is me, I am disabled,
Yeah.
you know?
I think that's where it kind of comes from, right? Like, because for many people who don't have the same kind of mindset, where you or me, we don't see the option of giving up is not an option, right? But people do see that as an option, and choosing not to give up and continue to go through is what everybody or anybody sees as the strength, right? But what is it that makes, is that social conditioning, or is that just our um way of thinking? Where do you think that comes from, that strength, or that where we don't look at giving up as an option?
I think it's self-worth. I think it's part of it is conditioning, but
Hmm.
I think a larger part of it is as we go through life, um, we have a choice whether we believe in
Yeah.
ourselves or not. That is a choice,
Yeah. Yes,
you know?
definitely.
And so, and when you make a conscious decision to believe in yourself and have faith in yourself, then
Hmm.
giving up is no longer an option,
Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
because, okay, so I gave up medicine, but
Hmm.
I found a different career path.
Hmm.
So giving up does not necessarily mean like not pursuing the same thing that you were pursuing up until that point. It's
Hmm.
looking at other options. What else can you do? That
Hmm.
that sort of a
Yeah.
thing. And at the end of the day, I think
Yeah.
it and we see this even in, like, even people who have multiple disabilities, right?
Yeah.
They find ways around it, to still achieve what they want to achieve.
George.
They
Hmm.
and if they cannot achieve that, they're at least trying,
Hmm.
you know
Yeah.
because success does not mean getting to the outcome.
Yeah.
It means at least giving it that effect, because not effort, because not everything is in our control. At the end of the
Yeah.
day, it could have been that I could have bombed my defense and not ended up with a
Hmm.
PhD, but at
Yeah.
least I tried.
Hmm.
you know
It's the journey, right?
yeah, it is. So I think, like, this is kind of how I came to look about this whole resilience thing.
Hmm.
A ball is bouncy, right?
Yeah.
When you throw it on the ground, does it have an option to not bounce back?
Yeah. A great
Unless
way
it
to look
doesn't
at
have
it.
air, is deflated, is made of, like, not bouncy material, and it goes splat.
Yeah.
When you throw a ball on the ground, it may bounce really high, or it may just bounce that much, but it will
But
bounce.
still, yeah, it will still bounce
Heck,
back.
our
Yeah.
phones, they're not balls. Our phones bounce when they drop on the concrete,
Yep.
you
Yep.
know?
Yeah. No,
So,
that's a great way to look at it for
yeah.
sure. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
this is why, I just really, resilience, for, when people are like, "Oh, you're so resilient." Thanks.
You
I'm
don't
a
know what to
ball.
say to that.
I'm a ball. I'm a bouncy ball.
Oh, so how long did it take you after the brain? Like, did it take you the same amount of time to complete your PhD, or did it take you longer?
It took me an extra year.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's
It
not too bad at all.
Mm-mm. No, I took my comps about 10 months to the date, almost 10 months to the date I got out of the hospital.
Oh,
Um
wow.
yeah, um got a nearly perfect score on them. How, I don't know. I really, because I was like, what? I came out of there going, I don't know what I just wrote in there. I don't even know if I wrote in English. Like, I don't know. But somehow it worked. And then, so March of 2022. And so this was all, oh, sorry, not 2022. My accident happened on January 13th, 2009, and then March
Mm.
22nd, 2012, which happened to be Ugadi that day, actually,
Oh, nice.
that year.
Yeah. That year.
I defended. So I
Hmm.
rang in the Telugu New Year that year as a doctor.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's amazing. That's amazing.
And I prayed a whole
So,
bunch before I went.
I'm sure. Um, what? I mean, we've talked about, it's just in the nature of bouncing back, but is there something that inspires you every day when you kind of like wake up and decide to continue at what you're doing? Like, what is it that drives you every single day?
Uh, I would say so there's a couple different things.
Mm-hmm.
One is I am not driven every day. I'll just be very brutally honest about that.
Mm-hmm.
I One of the things that massively changed after my second TBI especially is I am not somebody that can get up every day and work. Uh,
Mm.
I am somebody that works in these massive bursts,
Mm.
and I work like a maniac in that time.
Okay.
Um, I'll, and then I just won't do anything for like 2 weeks or a week
Mm.
or whatever, however long it'll take me, for one, my energy levels to come back, but also
Mm.
sort of like that internal inspiration. Um,
Yeah.
but this is again, so this is something that I figured out in the recovery process is
Yeah.
I had to figure out everything on my own. I had to relearn everything. So everything was trial and error. And
Right.
also, and you may, if especially if any listeners have heard to any of my other podcasts, they may know this, that I often say in retrospect, my TBI was the greatest blessing I could have had.
Mm.
And people are always like
Why? Yeah. How
confused
did?
or sometimes even alarmed on how am I calling this
Yeah.
huge trauma. And going through it was incredibly traumatic. Heck, the name even is
Yeah.
traumatic brain injury.
Brain
But
injury. Yeah.
the recovery process, because I didn't have PT, because I didn't have OT, because everybody pretty much abandoned me, or I asked them to leave me alone, like in my mom's case,
Yeah.
um, nobody was there to say, this is what you ought to do.
So you had like
At
a.
this point, this is
It's
how much
almost
your
like.
recovery is expected.
Yeah.
So it removed all
Or
limits.
yeah. That's actually a. Yeah. I see how you're saying it's as a blessing because you know what works for you and you're able to set up a process, whether it's learning or working or whatever, that actually works for you because there is no right or wrong.
Exactly. All expectations
Ah,
got removed,
that's
you know?
so, that's actually, yeah. Oh my God. That's like a complete aha moment for me right there.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, and that's why, to your, exactly. That's why I call it a blessing in retrospect,
Mm,
because it, and when you are going through something that excruciating, because again, the trial and error process was not easy at
easy,
all.
I'm sure. Yeah.
Um, I was doing a whole crossword puzzle book per day, like from the very, like from the gas stations, like
The,
the dollar ones,
the
all the way
smaller,
from the
yeah.
cat dog level to
Uh-huh.
then building up to the New York Times level.
Wow.
I was doing like a book of Sudoku per day.
Hmm.
Um, I
Just to
was,
like, just to train your brain back to the
yeah,
way it,
yeah,
to the level that it's supposed to be.
yeah,
Oh
because
my gosh.
games and puzzles engage so many different parts of your brain that
Yeah.
for me, the regular learning pathways just, I wasn't, they weren't working for me.
Yeah, yeah.
And so, and I've been gaming since I was 6, so I know like I know what gaming, has,
Mm,
like how it helps. Like even to this day, when I'm really stuck on something, and you know this, I game every single day, but especially when I'm really stuck on something, I'll actually put my
mm,
regular game aside and I'll play like a Candy Crush or something.
mm.
Something where you still have to, or Sudoku. I have Sudoku on my phone. I have crossword puzzles on my phone,
Yeah,
coloring apps on my phone. Something where it is simple enough to where I can do it and while processing it, but also leave space for me to kind of think.
think. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
And it cannot be a group activity, at least for me. Group activities,
yeah.
no. That's why I prefer those solo games
Solo
in
games,
those
yeah.
times. But yeah, I think that so that it really helped me figure all of that out. So in terms of like what drives me or like, what my source is, I've done it before.
Mm.
I've gone through all of that and I've done it before. So if I've done it before and was able to figure out some answers, I can
You can
do
do
it
it again.
again. The answers may not be the same, the process may
Yeah.
not be the same, but I know I can do it again.
Mm.
So
Awesome. Yeah.
that's when, like, okay, I can do this, is boom, when that burst of work starts, and then I'll crash for days. And
Mm.
then I'll pick back up. And I don't know, it's and actually this also, I love it because
Mm.
it gives me the amazing opportunity and privilege to just rest my body and rest my
Yeah.
mind, which I think we
Mm.
are all so rest deprived in this rat race.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
Regardless of what career paths we're on, that like for me to just say, no, this is just how it works, and my
Mm.
health and my peace of mind are my topmost priority, because especially for me, if there's
Mm.
even a little bit that goes out of alignment, it results in massive health issues for me.
Mm.
Massive neurological symptoms, ER trips,
Yeah.
like the
Yeah.
whole 9 yards. So that is something I simply just cannot risk.
Yeah. So you know what works for you and what can put you off track, so you take care that whatever processes you have in place are actually working for you.
Yeah, yeah,
That's yeah.
yeah.
That's
A very
that is so
long-winded
true.
answer.
No, that's perfect because I mean, there's this thing that I see in a lot of people is like, I think especially in Indians, right, who come to the US or wherever, they have this set notion that this is how work should be. This is how life should be, kind of like preset conditions or preset notions.
Yeah,
And when something doesn't fit into that pattern, it's it either causes them a lot of stress or things like that. But even though your answer is long-winded, I love that you're able to go into it, because people need to know and understand that there is no right or wrong way to do things.
yeah,
We each of us have to figure out what works for us and what makes sense for us, and create a path or a routine or a pattern
yeah,
that helps us achieve the best. So
yeah.
that's an amazing answer. So thank you for that.
Of
Yeah.
course.
um Strength, I see the definition of strength is like a huge range, right? It can run the gamut. So how do you personally define strength?
Um, I don't.
Okay.
Um, I I guess if I had to define it, I would say it is whatever you choose to develop in that moment.
So you think it's a strength that comes down to a moment and it's not something that's been there for all along.
I mean that I didn't say a moment is only a second there though.
That is true.
You
That
know,
is true.
it's
Yeah, yeah,
it's
yeah.
that experience. A moment could be a lifetime, a moment could be a year, but it is whatever you choose to focus on to develop in yourself,
Mm,
to
okay.
better yourself. You know,
Mm,
and this is why I said, you know, I kind of started off with, you know, I don't define strength because
yeah.
it goes back to like we are so conditioned to look at everything in the binary.
Mm,
So if there is a
mm.
strength, that must mean there is a weakness.
Weakness. Yeah. Yeah.
Um, but I guess I don't believe in the concept of weakness.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't believe in the concept of like a set definition or this is what strength is, you know, because for me a
Yeah.
weakness is something that you've just chosen not to develop, you know?
Oh, okay.
Um
Yeah.
I can't sew a button. Is that a weakness? No, because I've never wanted to. I've never tried. I simply don't have the skill. But skills
Hmm.
are something we can learn,
Yeah.
you know? And a lot of our strengths are also things we can either learn or cultivate in
Hmm.
ourselves, including having a strong mindset, including having strong clarity, a strong vision, you know, mental strength. However, you look at it, these are things that can be cultivated
Hmm.
if you choose to, and if you invest in yourself, whether that investment is happening in the form of time, education, financial
Yeah.
resources, a coach, a therapist, you know, a good friend, a dog, whatever,
Whatever.
you
Yeah.
know, just like, you know, like marathon runners have incredible like strength in their legs
Mm-hmm.
and incredible lung capacity. Is that
Yeah.
like, do you think someone just wakes up one day and says, like, oh, I can run, you know, a marathon?
That's true.
They
That is
focus
true.
on that and they train it. And that's,
Mm.
you know, that's why that becomes their strength. So
Mm.
it's, for me, it's whatever you choose to focus on to grow or develop in that moment.
I love that perspective. Yeah. What do you think is a common misconception among people about what it means to be strong?
That there's a set definition, that there is a very particular, like, this is what it is.
Yeah.
You know, I think it's again, it's that binary aspect of it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
It's whether it's with career, whether it's with whatever it is, it's this is the only way it is. This is how it has to be. I think um
Fixed notions about things.
exactly, the fixed mindedness. So obviously fixed mindedness is not a misconception, but
Mm.
the misconception that stems from that is
Mm.
a lot of people don't realize how strong they actually are.
Mm. Yeah.
They don't realize their capacity,
Mm.
or their potential. Like, you know, potential is not even the right word here, but they don't realize that there's other ways you can look at strength,
Mm.
you know? And
Oh,
because
yeah.
of that, it can also almost form like a self-imposed limit,
Mm.
and not a good one.
Yeah. 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 Okay. What advice would you give to someone who is struggling with being heard or seen, whether it's at work, whether it's in their personal professional, whatever?
Oh, I've never been asked that question.
Because
I
you are an expert in actually making invisibility visible and using
Yeah,
that as strength.
yeah,
So what
yeah.
advice would you give? Yeah,
Yeah, no, I love the question. I absolutely love the question. I was trying to think about how I want to
sure.
frame it, but you actually brought it up. I think it's making the invisible visible. And what that really means is usually, at least in my experience in these spaces and my personal experience as well,
Yeah.
when I felt the least seen and least heard is when I haven't even seen myself or heard myself first.
Oh, okay.
Because my mind is such a jumble.
Hmm.
And there's all of these, you know, well, they don't see me, they don't hear me, that my voice and my perspective in there gets mixed in with all of those. And that appreciation for myself and that belief in myself comes down,
Hmm.
right? It's only when we can see ourselves without judging ourselves
Yeah.
that we then know how to present ourselves with the kind of clarity
Yeah.
that is needed for that moment, whatever that moment is, whether it's professional, personal, whatever.
Yeah.
And you know, because if you think about it, most often we feel not seen or not heard in moments of conflict,
Yeah.
you know, or in moments of tension,
Hmm.
or in moments where there's injustice happening of
Yeah.
some kind, some kind of unfairness, some kind of balance loss. So there's already so many factors that go into that that are weighing us.
Hmm.
Other people's opinions, other people's, like, you know, like the other stressors in your life, balancing
Hmm.
that with the other parts of your life and everything else, because nothing happens in a vacuum. um
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
so, are you really even able to see yourself and hear
Yeah.
yourself when inside it's all like a jumble
A
mumble
jumble.
and a
It's
jumble
yeah.
of all of these factors, plus then all of the emotions, the negative emotions that are involved
Hmm.
with these factors? They're all exerting pressures on you all at the same
Yeah.
time. So how much are you able to see and hear yourself in those kind of moments, you
Yeah.
know?
It's like
um
it's like it's like because you're not being able to hear or see yourself internally, that's getting manifested outside as well.
exactly. Because if you, a lot, especially in these moments, again, just based on my experiences, what we actually want to be seen and heard for in those moments,
Hmm.
that just that sense of validation,
Yeah. Yeah.
um we don't send that message. Instead,
Hmm.
we clamor for, no, my opinion is right.
Becomes more defensive rather than giving the clarity.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So once you have that clarity, then you'll actually, you know, like, the question to ask is, what is it that I want to be seen and heard for in this situation? Is it
Hmm.
that I have to be right? Is it that I want my opinion considered? Is it that I just want them to acknowledge that I've made a contribution?
Hmm.
Is it
Yeah.
that or is it simply that I see you?
Hmm.
I hear you, even if
Hmm.
none of that, whatever message, I'm not going to take any of it, but I still
Yeah.
see you and I hear you. Which
Yeah.
What is it? So if you don't
What
have
is
the
it?
clarity on what is it that you want to be seen and heard for, you're what is the message
Yeah,
you're sending out?
yeah, yeah.
Yep.
No, that is very profound, and yeah, I love that.
Yeah.
Um,
It's just making the invisible visible.
yep. What's one ritual or practice or belief that keeps you grounded?
I watch a lot of Chinese dramas.
Okay, I wasn't expecting that. Okay, why Chinese dramas?
Chinese or Korean, but
Okay.
really Chinese dramas. They are
Well, Korean dramas are very close to what I feel as Bollywood dramas.
yeah. But I think Bollywood, I can't do Hindi or Telugu serials because I know the language, so I get into the
Uh-huh.
nuances of it.
Okay.
Whereas
So the language barrier is helping you here?
100% because it's all just,
Oh,
because when you don't understand something, everything's just absurd.
okay.
Like I actually like just posted about this very recently. It's so Chinese dramas for me are like just an endless source of entertainment because for any sort of thing, any illness, any issue that they have, the character ends up spitting copious amounts of blood,
No
right?
matter what it is.
Yeah, no, like it's like a knife wound, blood. Like they'll get stabbed in the shoulder, blood. They'll like
Okay.
stub their toe, blood. Paper cut, blood.
Okay.
And I'm like, poisoning, blood. Like, ever just that's their way of conveying that this person is really hurt. Oh, a fit of anger, extreme anger, blood. Extreme depression, blood.
Blood. Everything is blood.
Blood. Just think about how absurd that is.
Yeah.
You know, so it's and because of the nature of my work and everything, I am into kind of story writing and like, characters and all of those. So it really is something that I also do partly for, research in terms of like,
Uh-huh.
okay, like outside of all of these little absurd tools and tricks they use, um the underlying storyline is still a story.
Right, right.
And understanding that ultimately does help me just understand people better.
Hmm.
Because people are the stories that they believe about themselves.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So the more stories I can understand,
Hmm.
the better I can understand people and
Yeah. Yeah.
hopefully get them to understand themselves better.
Ah,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
Chinese dramas. The other ritual is, of course, I told you about the gaming thing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And then my art. So those are
Your
like
art.
my
Yeah.
three things that I'm like, um depending on what phase I'm going
Hmm.
through.
Hmm.
Whether it's problem solving or just inception conception or just
Yeah.
I just need a break from reality and need to decompress. Depending on
Gotcha.
which it is, I have these.
A couple of different things.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I also nap a lot. That helps.
Yeah. So let's actually switch into a little bit of a rapid fire over here.
Ooh, okay.
What's your favorite book?
Tolkien, Lord of the
Which one?
Rings.
Lord of the Rings. Okay.
Yeah, or
Uh,
Arthur Conan Doyle's like the Sherlock anthology.
oh, yes. I love that. Favorite song? You
Oh,
might have many, I know, knowing you,
my
but
current
is there
obsession is
one?
Sahiba.
Oh,
Adi Teri
okay.
Teri Sahiba. I
Yeah.
cannot get that song out of my mind.
Okay.
Telugu, it is um Pranav Kaushik's Idi Premena. It's an indie
Hmm.
song that came
Hmm.
out. And then I love Indian Raga's Shape of You, the Abheri.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
but yeah, music. I listen to
I know it's
like
it's difficult for
especially
you.
because of my current projects. I'm listening to hundreds of songs a day,
Hmm.
so it's like I cannot pick a favorite.
Okay.
Yeah, and I also don't want to offend some of my friends.
Hey, is your internet a little bit because you're going in and out?
No, I'm on LAN.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah, I think it's better now. It
yeah,
it kind of went in and out a little bit, but yeah.
yeah. I'm on LAN,
Okay.
but yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
And
Okay.
that's I also kind of don't want to answer that question more than I did because I don't want to offend my friends
Yep. No,
because I have
totally
too
get
many
it.
musician friends.
Yeah. What's your favorite or inspirational quote?
Right here. I know
Okay,
you
what
can't
does it
see all of
say?
it, but it says,
Yeah.
"Today is a brand new day. Aspire for more, take chances, be amazing, pursue your passion, believe, have fun, be brave, never give up, make a difference, work hard, embrace kindness, live your dream, love well, stay strong."
Awesome.
My eyes water.
What Are you okay?
Uh, yeah. I've been having some dermatological, like my dermatographism has been flaring up, and sometimes that just results in my eyes suddenly deciding to swell up.
Oh,
Yeah, but
yeah.
this is the other one too. This one,
Okay.
be
Which
beautiful.
is nice.
Yeah, I have all
Uh,
of my. I live in a cave of my favorites. The other one I have that you can't see over there is, "You are free to choose, but you are not free to you are free to choose, but you are not free from the consequence of your choice."
oh wow. I actually haven't heard that one before, and I love that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I feel
Yeah.
like I need to put that on my daughter's door.
Yes. If only they understand the nuance of that, that's a different thing,
Yeah.
right?
At some point in their lifetime, I hope.
Yeah, at some point, for sure. Yeah. Favorite movie?
I don't watch movies.
Only Chinese dramas.
Yep. Yep. Yep.
Okay.
Um,
What's your great?
I guess no. I don't watch a lot of movies at all. I barely remember the names, the stories, or everything. But the one I will go back and watch over and over and over and over again is Alvaikuntapuramlo.
Oh, okay. For the comedy scenes,
Oh man,
the fun.
especially the boardroom scene.
Yes, the courtroom scene was good.
Oh, like that scene is
Okay,
just pure
fair enough.
perfection, and I feel like Allu Arjun in that movie, just for me personally, it just elevated himself so much because everything he did in that movie, I was not expecting from him.
Okay.
Yeah.
I might have an unpopular opinion about this movie, but we'll talk about that at a later time. I don't want that over here. We'll discuss this movie later.
All right.
What's your greatest fear?
That I'll stop believing in myself.
Okay.
That that
What's
that
the
something will happen that will get in the way of me actually giving up on myself.
Hmm, okay. What's the most courageous thing that you've done till date?
I wake up every day.
Sure.
I wake up and choose to get out of bed.
Yeah.
And as silly as that sounds, I actually think that that is all of our most courageous thing every day, because if you think about it, it took
Mm.
it took 2.5 seconds for my life to get wiped out and completely
Yeah.
changed,
Yeah.
completely unexpectedly.
Yeah.
And I hope this doesn't put like, any sort of fears in people's minds when I say all of this, but like you could choke on your toothpaste.
Mm.
You could trip on a rock and go. You could
Yeah.
there are a billion things
That could go.
that could go wrong, but every single one of us that chooses to get out of our bed and face the day make that
Yeah.
choice to face the day.
Very true.
So
Yeah. Yeah.
I think all of us like are just magnificent human beings for doing that, because we
Yeah.
don't have to. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, we kind of have to for, salaries
Yeah.
and bills and all of that, but really we don't have to. But
Yeah.
we choose to. We choose to do that. Oh, here, there's another, because here's the thing. This is another quote too, and you'll be surprised who said this, but you are braver than you believe, stronger than you seem, and smarter than you think.
Mm.
Do you
Yeah.
want to guess who said it?
No, I don't want to get it wrong. Who said it?
Winnie the Pooh.
Oh yeah. Hmm.
Yeah, the little cute
Yep.
cuddly bear. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Yeah.
but it's
True.
true. We are
It is true.
all a lot more courageous than we give ourselves credit for, and it kind of goes back to that strength thing, right? Like we are
Mm-hmm.
all we just need we really really really, when we start believing in ourselves, when we start
Mm-hmm.
realizing all of the little choices we're making every
Mm-hmm.
day and how
Yeah.
courageous they are, how brave we are, how they are acting towards or against our growth and learning. That's when we can start to see ourselves more,
Mm-hmm.
more
Yeah. Yeah.
objectively. And
More
when we see
objectively.
ourselves more objectively, when we're able to love ourselves without judgment, that's when we can then give that love to those around us.
Yeah. Fill up your cup before you start pouring from it.
Yeah.
Yep. And I think that's a good segue into the next question, which is, what's your philosophy of life?
Have fun.
Have fun.
Have fun. Have fun. I think, again, this today thing is, I think that
Yeah.
that would also be a philosophy, because it's like, take care of your health, take care of yourself, um, have the people you want in your life,
Yeah. Yeah.
cut out anybody. So this is where, like, you shouldn't hesitate. Anybody that
Mm-hmm.
is making you feel a not good thing, not good way.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not talking about constructive criticism here.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm
The
talking
toxic kind.
about those, yeah, I'm talking about those who especially in, Indian families and Indian communities, there are always
Yeah.
those who are poking,
Mm-hmm.
not with good intent,
Yeah.
but really because they want to make themselves feel better.
Feel better. Yeah. Yeah.
Cut them out. Cut them out. It doesn't matter what your relationship with them is. Cut them out. Your life would be
Mm.
so much better for it.
Yeah.
I mean, at least for me, I've cut
Yeah,
out
for
many
sure.
of my family members. I literally, like, okay, when I go to India or if I see them in like reunions and things like that, I'm like, hey, what's up? That's it.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't pick up their calls. I definitely don't engage with them in like, how are you? Tell me about your life. How can I help?
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, just I think that and then have fun. Have have fun, because like
Life short.
Like, I don't know if life is short or long, but again, so here's a choice you get to make, right? Whether life is long or short, whether
Yeah.
life is beautiful or filled with a lot of road bumps, you can either go through it having fun or you can go through it
Mm.
being miserable.
Yeah. Choice is yours.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. You know, so do you want to be yourself and just have fun, or you want to cater to other people's expectations and just be miserable? Up to you.
Mm. Yeah. Yeah. No, that's
Yeah.
amazing. This was so much fun. Thank you so
Yeah.
much for agreeing to be on the podcast. It was a blast
Yeah.
having a conversation with you and going down the memory lane. So,
Yes.
for
Yeah.
all the things.
Yeah.
But the biggest takeaway, and I hope listeners, this is what you get out of it, that I took away from this conversation is there's always a choice and there's always a way to get better in whatever you choose to focus on. And you are like essentially after your second accident and your TBI, the way you kind of like had to rebuild everything on how your brain works and how you actually even accomplish your, you know, your doctorate. That is very inspiring, and I hope that's what our listeners also take away from this conversation.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, AJ.
I want to add one last takeaway too.
Sure.
And you can put this in before, but
Yeah.
laugh a lot. You know,
Yes.
make sure you laugh a lot every single day, because that's when that's when that stress goes away and things are worth.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
For sure.
Thank you for this amazing conversation. I mean, your questions were like awesome, awesome. Like, again, I've gotten questions. I've been on so many podcasts before, and I've gotten
Mm-hmm.
questions I've quite literally never been asked.
Oh,
And
good.
so I really, really enjoyed being able to think about them. And you're a fantastic host.
Oh, thank you so much. Validation for today. You know?